What is up, though, Lions fans? It's your boy, Motor City Don P. We're back here once again, and you already know what time it is. It is that time. Now, bust that rhyme. Talk about that slime, that grit, and that grime. The engine number 9, going down the East Coast line. You already know what time it is when you see me in front of your TV. Number one, there's one thing's for certain. Three things are for sure. Number one, Motor City Cats R&D back at it. Number two, we came to give you stats, not none of that static. Number three, perhaps the most important number of them all, number three. Want to make sure you keep your Lions news pragmatic. You may be asking yourself, how, Don? How, Mr. P? Does one keep their Lions news pragmatic? Well, it's very simple. I'll tell you. I'm not going to hide it from you. You know that's not my style. Smash like button, subscribe, share with your peoples. And once you've done those three things in any order that you've done them, you've done them, and you've indeed kept your Lions news pragmatic. And since we're talking about your peoples, sharing is caring. So when you bring someone to this stream, when you share it with them, you got to tell them to look over yonder. You say, look at here. And you got to tell them what the stream has. You say it's got beans, greens, potatoes, tomatoes, lambs, rams, hog, dogs, beans, greens, potatoes, tomatoes, chicken. You name it. Beans, greens, potatoes, tomatoes, beans, greens, potatoes, tomatoes, beans, greens, but beans. You name it. You name it. We got all the slews. We got all the news. We got all the flats. We got all the shoes. We got all the drinks. We got all the brews. We got all the big leagues and all the chews. You already know what it is. What is up, though, everybody in the chat? What up, though, to the people who are lurking and working and twerking and smirking? But if you're doing that other thing that's so freaky, just leave it, keep it to yourself, like Karen and her bland-ass potato salad. If you're doing that other thing, which is illegal, I don't want to know about it. Keep it to yourself, because I don't want to be a witness at your trial. And you know why I don't want to be a witness at your trial? Because ain't nobody got time for that. That's it. Ain't nobody got time for that. That's it right there. Ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time for that. All right. Robert Stevens is already on fire. Let's see what Robert Stevens got to say. What up, though, Robert Stevens? He says, oh, hey, Detroit signed another backup, LOL, i.e. camp body. Brother. There's far too many camp bodies signing. Greetings, MCDP. May the cats be with you. I like that one. May the cats be with you. Now, if Brad could sign a couple for the other side of the ball, don't forget the beans. We will not forget the beans, the greens, potatoes, tomatoes, the lambs, the rams, the hogs, the dogs, the beans, the greens, potatoes, tomatoes, the chicken. You name it. 15 free agents have joined the Lions, 4 or 5 on defense. That ain't a makeover. Not enough. It's not enough. It's not enough. It's not enough. Brad Holmes signing scrubs. It's not enough. All right. We did have some things that we had some meat we left on the bone yesterday. Pause. We tried to get to everything, but Brad Holmes he just gave us so much. So we're gonna get to it again. We're gonna continue where we left off, because there was so much cap. There is so much. Brad Holmes believes he is the smartest man in the room. I was reserving that for Bob Quinn. And I held out for quite some time. These cracks started to show themselves a couple years ago with Brad Holmes refusing to do anything at the trade deadline in 2023. And then when he did do something, it was some bullshit. These things started to show themselves, but I said, no, maybe I'm just overreacting. But after the interview from yesterday, Brad Holmes is officially the smartest man in the room. He's joined Bob Quinn in that territory. Now, I know there's going to be people who's going to hear this, and they'll be like, oh, you tripping. Brad Holmes ain't nothing like Bob Quinn. He's a better drafter. He's a better free agent signer. He's a better GM. Let's just get all those things out of the way. There is no opining for the days of yore, the days gone by, the days gone with Bob Quinn and Matt Patricia. The error that we call the Quinn-Tricia error. There is no longing for Fatty Matty Patty and his Bush and Bob Quinn telling you that he did the most work of any player in the draft on T's Tabor and still drafted him. No, that's not what we're talking about. But Brad Holmes does have smartest man in the room syndrome. What would we call that? SMRS. SMRS. Smartest man in the room syndrome. SMRS. That's the disease that Brad Holmes suffers from. All right, let's get to this. Kane Press, what up? Where you been at? Where you been, girl? Where you been, girl? All right, sick of Brad Holmes has something is going on that front office because Taylor Decker gone, Demo gone, Alex Anzalone gone, Muhammad gone, whole damn roster. Yeah. Brad Holmes, the cream of capology, cream of chicken. He's the cream of the crop, I tell you that. All right, before we get into that, let me take a second. All right, so we're going to play it. We're going to play that funky music, white boy. Play that funky music right. Said, play that funky music, white boy. Lay down the boogie. You already know what it is.
It wasn't no, we don't like outside corners. It was just like it has to be the right player, and so it just happens to line up. So I don't get frustrated when we miss out on a certain position. It's just frustrating if you miss out on a certain player, regardless of a position. But no, those are certain players that we tried to make moves for that we just weren't able to do. But one of those players that we tried to make move for was Isaac Tesla. Last year, like he was a player that we coveted very, very highly, and we were able to go and get. So it's always going to be players more so over position. And the reason why I keep saying is that this league, it flips and these rosters flip every single year. So what may be a perceived need at the time, when you're drafting a player, especially in the high rounds, in the first round, the second round, I always go back to Jack Campbell in 23. We didn't have a need at inside linebacker. We just loved the player. And so we just took the player that we liked the most at that pick. Oh, the player.
Listen, Bradley. Now, I know you don't think that the fans know this. See, this is the thing. Brad Holmes thinks you're an idiot. And some of the fans are. I replied to a tweet a little bit before I came on here. This man had the nerve, the gumption, the gall, the unmitigated gall to sit up here and say, Brad Holmes gets more hate than Bob Quinn. Wasn't nobody hating on Bob Quinn like they hate on Brad Holmes. I said good day to you, sir, but I said good day. Are you crazy? Bob Quinn was the architect of nothing. Bob Quinn's honeymoon was the first offseason in which he brought in Matt Patricia and tried to rebuild Patriots Midwest. That was the honeymoon phase for Bob Quinn. That one offseason, that was done after game number 1 against Sam Darnold when we hit him with the pick six on his first pass attempt in the NFL and proceeded to lose that football game? What are you talking about? So, yes, that's why Brad Holmes thinks that he is the smartest man in the room, because some of the fans are stupid. Some of the fans will believe anything that they are told. Some of the fans, not my chat, not my chat, right? Not my chat, but some of the fans will go the extra mile to agree with everything Brad says and does. When Brad comes in the room, they bend over. Now, pause if you want to pause, but that's just the way it is. They bend over and they offer themselves up. Now, Brad is sitting up here talking to you about the player. Oh, it's the player. Like, brother, players play positions. So because you sit here and I'm in love with this player. No, you're in love with a player at a position that is not necessary. The Isaac Tesla situation was a perfect example. Players make plays. Awesome. Fall in love with 10 quarterbacks in the same draft and watch what happens. Go ahead. Draft all 10 of them because you loved every one of those players, right? You weren't drafting positions. You didn't need to field a football team. You don't draft positions. You draft football players. Let me ask you a question. How many players came out on the edge after Aiden Hutchinson? My goodness, it's been 4-5 years, right? You couldn't find a player that you were in love with in 4 years? Aiden Hutchinson was drafted in the 2022 draft, correct? Cool. We're going into 2026. And you have not addressed the position at all. So you didn't find a player that you could agree with, a player that you fell in love with at a position of need. Because right before this, he talked about, when it lined up, all the stars aligned, I'll be feeling good. You know what I'm saying? I'm feeling good in my hood. Running neighborhood. Feeling blessed, never stressed. I'm Brad Holmes in my Sunday best. Hashtag if you know, you should hashtag. That's what he was doing when he drafted Terrion Arnold and Ennis Rakestraw. Feeling blessed, never stressed. Because I'm Brad Holmes in my Sunday best. That's what you were doing when you drafted Ennis Rakestraw and Terrion Arnold. Okay, cool. How many players have you fallen in love with in the second round, the third round, and beyond that have made an impact? Let's go with the second round. Sam Laporta, Brian Branch. Awesome. The list stops there. Let's go to the third round. Kirby Joseph, and some might say Aleem McNeil. I feel like Aleem McNeil didn't deserve the $30 million contract. I feel like Aleem McNeil is good, but you played him like he was great. I feel like Aleem McNeil has injury concerns. We'll see. Let's hope that he can stay healthy this season. So we got Kirby Joseph and a questionable Aleem McNeil. What did we do in the fourth round? Amon-Ra St. Brown. That's awesome. That's it. That's it. Josh Pascal wasn't a hit. You were in love with that player. Levi Ozarike was a bust. You were in love with that player. What are we even talking about? This is asinine. What up to Herb Gotti? Now I want 11 touchdowns. Bro, I need to have 20. You know what I'm saying? After hearing Brad's bullish three third-round picks. I did not see three third-round picks last year producing what? Couple of crazy catches? Exactly. But you were in love with that player. All right, let's continue with this gobbledygook and this poppycock.
And I think now it come around where, yeah, this was the right move. It made it look like it that year, but it's circling around. So I just think if you keep chasing the need thing, it's another contract's gonna expire. You may lose another player, and you keep chasing need. It's like, well, okay, you thought this was a need, so that's why I've always been more like, let's just get the best player. So probably a long-winded answer, but just want to be clear, and we're always gonna have that approach. But when it does line up, like in 2024, when it does line up where there is a need and you do like the player, that is the best of both worlds for sure.
Is that the best feeling?
Yes. It is.
2024, in case you guys don't remember, he's talking about Terrion Arnold and Ennis Rakestraw. Listen, I crashed out about Ennis Rakestraw enough yesterday, but it still boggles the mind. It blows the mind when a man sits up there and talks about, and he goes on this whole spiel. He went on this 5-minute soliloquy about players and falling in love with the players, not positions, players. Player. There's got to be a player. He went on a 5-minute soliloquy about players. And then he comes back around to tie a bow on the entire soliloquy, to put a bow on it, to tuck it in, to kiss it goodnight with 2024 Terrion Arnold and Ennis Rakestraw. Two people who 2 years into their career, their availability for next season is in question. Terrion Arnold with his legal issues, and Ennis Rakestraw with his inability to stay healthy at all ever. You are victory lapping, putting bows on things, tying cute little knots around things over Terrion Arnold and Ennis Rakestraw. I kid you not. This is what this man is doing. Brad, we're just happy to get notice, Holmes. Facts. Facts. All right, let's continue.
Speaking of those trade attempts, is there any, I'm going to try to get a story out of you. Any insight you can share into just how those conversations went? Was it harder to trade up than you thought? If you're trying to get someone,
this isn't really
at a higher
interesting.
spot?
And especially if you win some of these moves that you go, it's like, or that was one of the issues that we were
Put yourself up well enough in free agency with some of the moves you made, getting DJ in here, Peyton Turner, to just maybe pass on an edge if the moment comes and there's a player rated highly on your board.
Listen to this
I don't
BS.
think you can ever have enough of those guys. Really, like I'm excited about.
I don't think you can ever have enough of those guys. Yeah, you've addressed the situation with Hutch and a bunch of nobodies. The draft capital that you've spent on the edge has been, outside of Hutch, no higher than the 6th round. You can say Pascal if you want to. That's fine. That's fine. You can say Pascal. Cool. He was a 2nd round guy. who y'all had playing both inside and outside. A true edge rusher, a true pass rushing edge rusher. 6th round is all you've done with that. And that was James Houston. You took someone else in the 6th round who we won't mention because I'm going to get even more upset if we mention his name. So I'm not going to mention him. This is your GM. But he doesn't deserve the hate. He doesn't deserve the hate. Because people hate on him more than they hated on Bob Quinn. He's undeserving.
We're excited about the guys that we got at that position, but I don't think you can ever have enough of them. So
we're excited about DJ Wanham and Peyton Turner. I told you guys, Peyton Turner is the new Marcus Davenport. He's worse than Marcus Davenport as far as staying healthy. And his career production is 5 sacks. Josh Pascal, I believe, had 5 sacks. We're excited about DJ Wanham, who Carolina didn't want him. We're excited about Peyton Turner. I can't make this stuff up, bro. This man just said we are excited about the guys that we've got. Syndicates 365 will be live right after this show. Because this is some nonsense, and we've got to talk about it. We're excited about the guys that we have. We don't freaking have anybody. Opposite of Hutch, we've got a guy that's coming off of a season when a couple of years ago, he had to have 3 surgeries on a torn quad. A torn quad, which DJ Reed had 2 of them things. A torn quad for DJ Wanham, just 1 became a life-threatening injury. And we talked about the ordeal. He had the torn quad. The body rejected the stitches, which led to MRSA infections, staph infections, a very aggressive form of staph infection, and 3 separate surgeries. If he didn't lose his life, you know what he could have lost? His leg. That's the type of stuff where they have to amputate, because the infection can be so aggressive that they're not going to be able to stem it. So if they don't cut off the leg, it's going to spread through the rest of the body, and you will die. This is the guy that he's excited about, opposite of Hutch. And then, wait, there's more. There's more. We got Peyton Turner. And we already know what Peyton Turner's about. If you get 2 games a year out of Peyton Turner, you're lucky. But we're excited about the guys that we have. Okay. I mean, that's what happens when you're the smartest guy in the room. You can say wild, crazy stuff and think that people are going to believe you. He who must not be named will die for you. Facts. What up, though, Mr. Detroit City? Oh, man, this just keeps getting worse and worse, or better and better. Depends on what you're rooting for.
So I don't think, again, if it's the right player, that happens to play that position, then that's a player that will covet. But again, I always say, man, like we draft that position. If we draft that position,
here it comes.
That player is not producing. What are you guys gonna say? Bad pick. You're gonna say, no, man. Well, and in the moment, you guys, hey, they drafted that edge. They drafted that whatever that position is. But we like it has.
Bro, hold on. You're gonna say that dumbish again.
To be the right player. Because that's why I say all the time, it's easy to just draft a certain position every single time. You can do that.
Bro, the thing that pisses me off about this situation, is that you're insulting my intelligence. You're insulting my intelligence. And this is generally what the smartest man in the room does. He insults your intelligence and he talks down to you because he doesn't think that you're on his intellectual level. He doesn't think that you can grasp all this knowledge that he's dropping. In this man's mind, he's dropping gym after gym after gym after gym after gym whenever he says the word player. It's got to be the right player. See, it doesn't matter the position. It's got to be the right player. In our minds, the player, blah, blah, blah. Bro, listen to me. I know Brad Holmes doesn't watch me because if he watched me, he'd be smarter. He'd have handled this in a different way because this is a disaster. This is a disaster. It's got to be what happens if we draft that position and that player underperforms. Brother, the same thing that happens at every player or position that you draft who underperforms. Broderick Martin, the pick sucked. It was ass. It stinks. It smells like 2 packs of ass. F you talking about? Shout out if you know, you know. Use the hashtag. It stunk. The Hendon Hooker pick stunk. The Vaki pick, which I was high on. I like Vaki. And then you tried to turn him into a running back, which I didn't like. And now he can't stay healthy. Pick stunk. Kobe Sorsdahl, the pick stunk. Antoine Green, the pick stunk because he couldn't stay healthy. The pick stinks. That's what happens if you draft any player and that player underperforms. It doesn't matter what position. Stop talking to us like we're stupid, Brad. We don't know what you're talking about. We can't understand. We're not on the same plane as you. Oh, here comes Megamind. Whoa, everybody get out of the way. Here comes Brad Megamind Holmes. Not only is he Megamind, he's also the mastermind. Whoa, watch out. Here he comes. Get ready to get that knowledge and those gems that he's dropping every time he says player. Brother, what are we doing? What are we talking about? If you draft that play, bruh, what stops you? So this is the thing that I've noticed about Brad Holmes. Brad Holmes doesn't have a plan. Because he told you in this same, a little bit earlier in this same interview, that he didn't intentionally get better Or sorry, he didn't intentionally get younger. It just happened that way. All the free agents that you signed were just not intentionally younger than the people that left, than the veterans you jettisoned. None of this was on purpose. The other thing that makes me understand that he doesn't plan is because you need a certain position. And instead of doing the work, you just go, well, it's got to be the player. Brother, why can't you look at the player that plays a position that you need? What's wrong with that? Again, I go back to my question. And guys in the chat, please answer this question. Has there not been an edge since Aiden Hutchinson that was worth drafting? Is that what we're saying? Has there not been an edge since Aiden Hutchinson that was worth drafting and drafting high? In the Broderick Martin draft, there were some edges that could have gone instead of him, or there were some defensive tackles who went, they should have gone, that did go in instead of him, in front of him, but we had to have Hendon Hooker at that point in time. Due to nepotism, due to Bradley, Matthias, Jerome, Cornelius, Ignatius, Shaquarius, Caesar, Julio Cesar Chavez, Matabuco, Junaid Holmes. Had to draft this man because he went to school with his father. What about those players who underperformed, Brad? Would you rather have had a player to be on your team instead of Hendon Hooker, who you had to cut because he kept looking worse and worse every time he stepped on the field? That guy? But you were in love with him because he was a player. This is not positionless basketball, Brad. This is not basketball. This is not the NBA. You can't just fall in love with a player and then just draft them because it creates holes like the 3 third-round picks for Isaac Tesla, who was a player that you didn't need. Now you have no third-round picks this season or this draft coming up, so you're going to have to trade up to get back into the third round, wasting more assets. Because you made an irresponsible move by sending 3 third-round picks for Isaac Tesla, a wide receiver, when you already had Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jameson Williams, Khalif Raymond, Sam Laporta. Where are his touches coming from? Oh, we got rid of Khalif Raymond. Cool. No problem. We signed Greg Dortch. Khalif Raymond didn't have a whole hell of a lot of offensive role anyway. So you're going to give Isaac Tesla, Khalif Raymond's 3 snaps per game? Come on, dude. This is crazy. This is crazy. You're sitting up here going on and on and on about a player. Like, frick, what are you talking about, Brad? Players play positions. You draft everybody that you love. Cool. That's fine. That's fine. Why do you double up? Why do you double up on positions? Why did you double up with Aleem McNeil and Levi Onwuzurike? Oh, because you just loved them? Why did you double up with freaking Ennis Rakestraw and Terry Honor? Because you just loved those guys? You just said you had a need and that lined up. Great, awesome. Ennis Rakestraw was a terrible pick. But you took him because you had a need. When you could have took Nate Wiggins and Cooper DeJean. Nate Wiggins was available for you to sit still and pick. I don't know offhand. Does anybody know where Cooper DeJean was picked in the second round? Was it before Ennis Rakestraw or after? Because if it was before Ennis Rakestraw, guess what you could have done? You could have sat still, got Nate Wiggins, and then you could have used some of that capital that you used to trade up and get Terrion Arnold to trade up and get Cooper DeJean. You're victory lapping about Terrion Arnold and Ennis Rakestraw. It blows my mind. Did you think we're this stupid? And as I said, some of the fans are. Some of them are. But this is crazy. Let me get to your comments. Melvin is a punk. Slack jaw punk. He's putting out that we are going to get good starting play from a bunch of guys making less than $2 million on the season. Oh yeah, we didn't even get to that part yet. With Davis says go Lions for sure. What's good, Rich? Spazzing. Brad Holmes is a used car salesman, politician, lies, deflects, never takes accountability, and makes excuses. Cap. One Repub says, preach, Don. What up, though? I'm Ignacio. We are all Ignacio. We are all Brad Holmes. Brad the idiot used 3 third-round picks for a wide receiver who has yet to produce for the Lions. Well, he had 6 touchdowns. So if Tesla doesn't produce this season, what will be Brad's excuse? Well, they got to give him an opportunity, right? And they're going to do that. I'm pretty sure he's going to be forced on the field more and more because you don't want to look silly. Are you the fellow from Derek's stream from the other day? I don't know what that means. We need depth. Indeed, we do. And that's what we're signing, depth. But you guys are going to listen. You're going to hear something a little bit later that makes you believe something else. We've been waiting for him to draft another edge for 3 years now. 4th time without one. Going to bring the heat. That's gotten many of coaches and GMs fired. Right. Wayne Fonts is laughing. That's terrible. 6th round, is that enough? 6th round, is that good enough? I don't know. 6th round. 6th round. Is that freaking ridiculous? TDI, is that enough? It's not enough. It's crazy. All right, let's get to more of this BS. How the Pistons are, bruh. The Pistons have stormed back against the Hawks. The Hawks were up by 20. Now the Pistons are up by 3. That's crazy.
But, I think I was on one of my rants about positional value thing. That's probably a year or two ago, and so one of the members of the media.
I think it was on one of my rants, and one of my members of the media. I think I was on one of my rants, and one of the members of the media said something to me. I was ranting.
I was on my rant.
I'm over here, detective.
Position every round. And then one of the guys kind of said silent. The player said, "Oh yes, that's exactly the thing that we run into." But yeah, no, it's not going to be. I don't think edge rusher in position going to be ignored, but with the guys that we have right now, the right players there.
Brother, again, you've said this 2 times in the last 5 minutes, and I don't understand it, bruh. So shout out the heavyweights. They replayed the Dan Campbell, Jim Costa thing, or Costa, I don't know if it's Jim, the Dan Campbell Costa thing, where he asked him about Zadarius Smith. And he said, we're good. We're good right now. We like who we got. We've got Davenport. First name out of his mouth was Davenport. The most frustrating thing, and I'm not going to harp on the word evolution and evolve. I'm not going to harp on that. The most frustrating thing is that these guys have defined insanity and have done it over and over and over again. Bruh, you just went through this Marcus Davenport situation for 2 years. Now you're sitting up here saying the same thing about Peyton Turner. We're happy with the guys that we have right now. We're excited about the guys that we have right now. How are you excited about DJ Wanham and Peyton Turner? Let me even give you DJ Wanham. Let me give you DJ Wanham because DJ Wanham was once a good player. We know he provided problems for the Detroit Lions when he was with the Minnesota Vikings. We know DJ Wanham well. DJ Wanham ain't been that player in years. So if you're going to say, okay, cool, DJ Wanham, if I told you today, DJ Wanham is going to return to form and he's going to have an 8-sack season, would you like that? Yes, that would be great. Awesome. What form is Peyton Turner going to return to? What form is Peyton Turner returning to? He doesn't play football. He plays less football than Marcus freaking Davenport. How do you mention him in we're happy with the guys that we have right now? How? How are you happy? How are you excited about a guy that is worse than the guy that you just came off a 2-year injury saga with? He's worse as an injured player, and he has less stats. Marcus Davenport's best season, 9 sacks in 11 games. Peyton Turner's entire career, 5 sacks. 1 sack per year is his average. And you're excited about him? How and why? Why did you do this damn interview if all you were going to do was sit here and offer this bluster? Bruh, you may think that this is a press release. You may have thought it was a layup. You may thought it was damage control. You don't own a single damn mirror. You don't own a mirror because you've never looked in one. If you sat here across from and between these people and thought that what you were saying and doing was actually helping you, you are insane. You are actually insane. If you think that you came off looking and sounding better than you did going into this interview.
Absolutely.
Brad, bigger picture on the defense. You know, talked about a few times your free agency focus ended up, whether it was intended or not, to be your offensive line. That's where the budget went.
Yeah.
And so,
what budget? What budget? You signed 2 people. You signed 2 people on the offensive line. Cade Mays, great signing. Larry freaking Borum. Larry Borum. You gave him spend $5 million a year. That's your budget? Bruh, look, a lot of people don't want to blame Sheila. A lot of people did because, you know why? Because Sheila fired Fatty Matty Patty and his boy Bob Quinn. She ended the Quintricia era. And that's why people don't want to blame Sheila for anything. But I got to look at Sheila, bro. If you're telling me that your budget was 2 players on the offensive line, one of them was an accidental starter last season. One of them was the reason for the Hutch rule because Hutch was eating this man's lunch in the joint practice with the Miami Dolphins at training camp last season. Hutch was eating his lunch, getting to Tua all the time. Getting Tua all the time. So they would blow the whistle or throw down a jersey to signify, that, Hutch got the sack, and then the offense would be allowed to continue their play so they could get work in. This is the man that you are telling me is going to be a starter. This is the man that you spent all this money on and you broke your budget. So because you made 2 signings in free agency on the offensive line, your budget was gone. How was your budget gone? Why did you not restructure Jared Goff the entire way? Why did you not take his cap hit down all the way so that you could free up even more money? Why didn't you restructure Penei Sewell? Why didn't you restructure Amon-Ra St. Brown? Why didn't you free up the $100 million of money that would have been freed up in the cap space? Well, we've had financial constraints. Some people believe that he's saying financial constraints because he wants to sign his guys. And that's what the financial constraint means. I don't believe so. I believe that you use the word financial constraint, the phrase, sorry, it's not a word, it's a phrase, that you use financial constraints, the phrase, 35 times in this interview because you were trying to let people know it's not your fault that you don't have the money. You don't want people to think ever that we have money, but we're not spending it. No, we're spending everything that's available to us. That's what he said. So the whole Sheila thing has to be something because he said we're spending everything that's available to us. You know what wasn't made available to you? More money on a total Jared Goff restructure. More money on restructuring Penei Sewell. More money on restructuring Amon-Ra St. Brown. More money to get more players. Going into the draft, bro, I have no idea what they're going to do. I have zero idea. I don't know at all. Because you're telling me Larry Borum's a starter. You're telling me you love Juice Scruggs. You're telling me all these things about other people's cast-offs. Not highly touted, highly drafted guys. No, just cast-offs. But you know what? Brad Holmes did a ton of work on Larry Borum in the draft process. Brad Holmes did a ton of work on Juice Scruggs in the draft process. I don't know if we're going to get to it now because we only got about 5 minutes left. But the fact that Brad Holmes says in this interview, all these guys that we're signing that you think are just depth could wind up playing a ton of football for us. So you just told me you're going to have bench, subs, and reserves playing a ton of football. And you know what? Even if they're not starters, that's going to happen because Dan Campbell can't keep his players healthy. Come on, bro. Like, y'all, we need, as a fan base, we need to wake up, bro. We need to wake the frick up because this man is sitting up here selling us a bill of goods, telling us all this garbage. Let me get to your comments before I get out of here, bro. How did you know, Don? I'd call him TDI because he's worse than DDI. You know, he's worse. If Brad takes an edge in the first, the fan base will fall back in line. No, we won't. I'll be shocked. I'll be shocked because you spent 5 years telling me that the position didn't matter. I'll be shocked. But that doesn't, because what happens if we draft that position and that player doesn't perform well? What happens? If you draft Keldrick Falk, I won't give a damn because that's nothing but Marcus Davenport, just younger. A guy that can't get to the passer. I will not care. Sheila loves the draft. I guess she does. I'm surprised he found a center. I wasn't. Kate Mays was the guy, you know, that they identified early on. I see how you turn nerd that around. If Ignatius didn't find a center, he knew we would fully riot. Yeah, I mean, you know, I don't really think he cares too much about us. Excited for my new nickname? What is it? Yep, TDI is a thing. DJ Reader, no sacks last year, but see, DJ Reader is not supposed to get sacks. He's supposed to take double teams so Aleem McNeil can provide that interior pass rush pressure. Aleem McNeil is the guy that you look at and go, where were his sacks? Pause. DJ Reader wasn't brought in for sacks, though. That's a fact. I'm telling you, Brad has stock in medical coverage. Please like the stream, and if you're not subbed to the channel, love to see you here, and bang that bell to get all the new content. Please do. I appreciate you, Rich. Brad Holmes thinks he's a gladiator. Are you not entertained? No, I'm not entertained at all. At all. What up, though, Mark Garcia? That thumbnail brought me in. What did I miss? All the crashing out. You missed it. 16 million left on Goff's contract. That buys you a pretty good player. Facts. 16 mil. You could have brought in a Max Crosby with, you know, the 16 mil that you got from there and maybe a little bit more. Wasn't Scruggs highly drafted somewhere? I mean, he's a second round draft pick. And again, the only thing that I can say in Scruggs' defense is he was drafted by the Houston Texans, who want zero offensive line help for CJ Stroud. They want to get him killed. So, you know, we'll have to see about Drew Scruggs. That's the only thing I can say good. SOL, as long as there are butts in the seats, the Fords are happy. Ford's building for a Super Bowl since 1957. I heard that. Just a fan, facts. It's all about the tickets. Must be the money. Do you want to go and take a ride with me? 3 willing and 4 with the goldies. Oh, why do I feel this way? Hey, must be the money. Hashtag if you know, you know. Use the hashtag. Sheila loves keeping her money. Those seem to be facts. Melvin can't wait to be unemployed. Brad can't spend because Sheila's not opening up. I mean, and that's the possibility. Really, it is. At this point, Brad doesn't care. He's like, we don't have money, so what do you expect? Again, that's a possibility. That is a possibility. So can we call this the Crash and Port episode? I mean, not really, because it's not even really about Davenport. Hold on, let me see when this show is supposed to start. 1 second. Bruh. Hit the like button, stragglers. Yes, for those of you who have not. So it looks like 9:30. So we have some time. We have some time. All right. Let's continue this garbage. Thoughts on the D line? We good. Facts. We love the guys that we have right now. We're excited about them.
You know, just I don't want to be disrespectful to the guys you signed. Like that's important, but Amik got what he got. Alex got what he got, and AQM got what he got. Those were bigger deals than the guys you signed, and so it looks like you've taken a step back there. That looks like also the unit that needed more work coming out of last season. Your offense has been top 5 for feels like a decade now. So given where you're at, how much work do you still feel like you have to do on the defense here between now and training camp or start of the offseason program?
Yeah, I don't think that work ever stops. Look, I've always been a big proponent.
Here it comes.
Man, there's certain things that have titles on them, like agency.
Bro, why does he talk like this? It pisses me off. Why are you talking like this? Like you're the only one that knows anything, and everyone else is just flawed in their thinking. Well, there's certain things on the calendar that have titles. And those are the things that people latch on to. Bruh, give me a freaking break, man. Not everybody's as stupid as you think. There are stupid people in this world. I deal with them every single day. I'm not saying my chat. No stupid people in my chat. I deal with people on the road. It is my life's curse. I am plagued by stupid people. I deal with them all the time. They love to insert themselves in my life. Random strangers on the street will come and rain down upon me with their stupidity. But bro, you talking like this? Like we don't know what the hell is going on, bro. Everybody's a casual. There are lots of casual fans, but everybody, Brad, all of us are casuals. None of us know what the hell is going on. Okay.
Is the first calendar event that has a title on it after the season ends. So everybody's fired up, and sometimes you can get lost into this is the only time you can have a players during free agency. And it's like, oh, no, it's not. And then the draft comes around. This is the only time you can have players.
Whoever said any of this, Brad? Who are you talking to? And who are you talking about? I don't get it. Who are we talking about? And to?
And then the trade deadline comes up. The only time it's nonstop. It's endless, and so we will never take the approach that we have done enough, because I think this league is too hard to ever have that stance. So it's always going to be more work to be done. Now,
brother, anybody that you have drafted after Brian Branch, there has been something left to be desired. The free agency signing period after 2023 has left something to be desired. You spent $16 million per year last year on DJ Reed, a cornerback who's never been a number one, but he's been a number two, and he was a solid number two, but you're coming over here and asking him to be a number one. You traded for Carlton Davis. This is before last year. You traded for Carlton Davis. He fit like a glove. He was a very good corner for us. You let him go because he didn't like a certain language in the contract and you weren't willing to change it. Whether it's injury or what, that's fine. Come back to the table and see what you can work out. See what will be acceptable to him. Every trade deadline, we beg you to go get some help. Zadarius Smith, you traded for, you cut him. Carlton Davis, you traded for, you allowed him to walk out of the door and go sign with the New England Patriots. I don't understand what it is that you think that you are doing. You're talking to some audience out there who doesn't remember everything you've done, who doesn't know that you don't do anything when it comes to the trade deadline. And if you do, those players are not going to be on your team for more than that season. You're talking to an audience that doesn't know that when you go into the season and you want to use whatever is left in the picked over free agency bin, that you're not looking for long-term solutions. You're looking for Band-Aids. Because if they were that coveted in free agency, they wouldn't still be in the bin when the season comes around. You may be able to sign someone to go to training camp. And then you're talking about, undrafted free agents. Awesome. They didn't get drafted. They didn't get drafted. No one chose them. They were the kid standing on the playground in unmitigated horror, realizing that the picks were almost up and they weren't going to get chosen. Out of all of the undrafted free agents that you've signed, how many have you kept? How many have you kept on your team after the initial cuts? How many? So when you sit up here and talk about, they think that, you can only build a roster during the draft, during free agency, at the trade deadline. No, Brad, we know you can. The only one of those places that has a set time is the draft. All throughout the season, all throughout the training camp, all throughout that, you can sign free agents. All throughout that, you can trade. But have you? And if you've gotten anybody impactful in here via a trade, watch out. It's only going to be a 1-year rental, however long the season lasts. after that trade. Man, I don't know, bro. I don't even know. No clue. All right. All right. Troy Fan Man says, so the way Holmes with the collective guys was talking about his shiny new OL now, I'm thinking is full on BPA again at 17. What about Peter Woods to replace Reader Lopez and give Aleem some pressure? Bro, if you listen to me, if you draft another goddamn defensive tackle in the first round after you just did it last year, I'm gonna ask for you to be fired. I'm sorry. There's too many holes to be drafting a defensive tackle in the first round with pick number 17. You want to draft a defensive tackle, wait to the 6th round like you usually do. Think about it. If they could do these restructures and get dogs, why would they not? This whole is mind-blowingly stupid. I've been talking about, I think you're new, G Wiz. I've been talking about Sheila. I've been talking about how she ain't got money. And I've also offered the solution. Sell shares of the team. Sell stake in the team. Not your controlling interest. You still own it. Sell to Tom Gores, Matt Ishbia, and that one dude, I don't know his name. I need to figure out his name. The one that gave all that money to Michigan. Sell it to those 3 guys and watch the money flow in. I still think we see DDI and TDA play together this year. Bro, if they bring back Marcus Davenport. If they bring back Marcus Davenport. I'm not sure, plus that's cool, bro. So would those people be SDI? Brad Holmes has the biggest brain in the room. Facts. Ignatius watches you and Derek probably. Look at the big brain on Brad. Mm-hmm. He learned under Snead. He did. He did. I don't know how much he learned, but you know, he was there in class, I guess. Bro, this is why I watch you as you keep it real and transparent. I feel that these guys asking the questions were glazing so bad, just like these other guys on YouTube. Jeff was so quiet. I feel like there was probably some guidelines, right? I feel like, hey, y'all gotta let Brad get his ish off. Because we made you, right? They probably got like 100,000 subscribers after this. You know what I mean? So while that in 1 year, just talking about DEs, we've gone from we're good to now we'll look. You can never have enough of these guys and yet still didn't get one. You can never have enough of these guys. And you got Peyton Turner and DJ Wanham. That's crazy. I'm just not sure why Sheila had let Brad go. The only thing I can figure is what I said the last stream. She doesn't want to look like a stupid to the fan base. Sheila let him go. We, the fans, are done. Like I said, she can't say anything to make her look good. So bye-bye, pray. Rich is ready for GM Sheila. Want her to take notes. What would the fine Rev Martin Luther King say about nothing else? Free at last, free at last. Thank God Almighty, I'm free at last. I mean, I'm unemployed. I've seen the mountaintop, but I ain't gonna get there with you. I'm going to Canada. Brad Holmes for president of the United States of America, U.S. and us and we can get a new GM. Yeah. Dan Gilbert, mortgage scam artist, Rocket Financial, no bueno. Steelers too busy with her new cricket team. Facts. Facts. I have a dream. I had a dream that one day Ignatius was fired. And all the little black boys and white girls could play together in the middle of Ford Field once again. I had a dream. Brad went on the boringest podcast. Well, so he wouldn't come on the podcast that would actually hold his feet to the fire and hold him accountable. And that's the issue. So if these guys keep us decent, they will never be fired. All they care about is staying good enough to keep them tickets high and concessions. This team will never win Super Bowl champions. No, you're kind of right, bro. He talked about, in this interview, he talked about the sustainability and keeping that intact and all this other garbage. And I'm like, what sustainability? Sustained success comes after having success. Sustained success comes after having success. And after having it one time, I could get used to having it less. But you preparing for the worst, I say to have it is best. If I became a Super Bowl champion, I would say it's a habit to be blessed. You know what I'm talking about? Off the top of the dome. I'm here all week. Off the top of the dome. He turned down an interview with the DOC from SI. Brad, he called him the DOC. Shout out if you know, you know. Brad don't want smoke, just a bunch of yes men, SMH. He definitely not going with Doc. No, sir. Yep, substandard sickness is how we feel. Mm-hmm. They define sustained success not by W's and L's, but by the 20K continued wait list for season tickets. This 4-year consecutive winning season streak is paying the bills. No trophies, sustained success. You know, I've heard that the wait list is a bit inflated. It's not an actual thing. So I've heard that they're making tickets unavailable when they have them. This is what I've heard. I'd like to see Brad Holmes get interviewed by and Derek. Woo! That won't happen. Mike 365 would talk him in the ground. LMPO. Yes, I said yesterday that this was to calm down things. All those pod guys started talking nice about Brad a few days before. No, I could understand that. By you and Derek, yeah, I know. Bro, I'm just look. This drivel that this man just spit is crazy. But there's some more. There's some more.
You know, if you're looking at if a roster's gotten better or worse by the contracts or the number values. Now look, you just brought up a player that signed for a bigger deal, but when we signed the player, it was less. And so I guess I'm saying that to say you don't really know what the value is going to be until the games are sort of kick off. So, and I think that's where the evaluation and the months and months and months of evaluation and the deep dive analysis and all that work that has to go on behind the curtains, that's when it's going to show. So if there's a guy that we signed, maybe it was men's salary, and it's like, well, he signed for minimum salary, so that can't be, but he ends up playing a big role and is becoming a productive player for us and helping us win games. Then the next year he gets a bump in pay. And I was like, wait, hold on, man. This guy got paid this much, but the guy that you added got paid. Well, we did that the year before. You know what I mean? With the same player. So I'm not knocking that stance, but I do think you have to kind of wait until the games kick off to really make a real accurate assessment. And really, that's what all this stuff is. I mean, like, nobody knows what's going to happen right now. Like, we're doing the best we can to position ourselves to be the best team that we can be right now. But at the end of the day, man, I don't think you can say, well, they paid this money for this guy and they paid this much money for this guy and they drafted it. At the end of the day, you won't know until those games start to kick off. And, some players that you may have thought may have been, just depth pieces may end up being like major contributors. And I think that's the fascinating part about this league. We're going to find out about.
He said you're going to F around and find out. Bro, everybody wants to be right. And everybody wants to think that what they're doing is correct. And everybody wants to believe in their own process. They want to be able to reassure themselves and the people around them that they are that dude. But when you sit here and you tell me that a lot of these guys that you think are just depth signings, because they look like depth signings, because they were out of the league last year, they were working for McDonald's, whatever. You just think that, you're just going to grab these players because the worst part about this, you know how Derek always says, well, the Jahmyr Gibbs draft pick was what kind of set him on the villain path because he was feeling himself so much and he got Jahmyr Gibbs and that was going to be instant takeoff, right? Awesome. You know what the signing is? Al-Qadim Muhammad. AQM. AQM is the signing that did this to him. That's the problem. AQM is who did this to him. Oh, you might sign, bottom of the barrel contracts, minimum contracts, this, that, and the third thing, and then the guy might be great. AQM did that. Because AQM was making just over $1 million last season, and now he left and got up to $6 million because he had 11 sacks. AQM did it, man. It was AQM. You're not going to find out until the games kick off. You want to go into the season with Larry Borum as your starting tackle? And who at cornerback? DJ Reed and Ennis Rakestraw? Really? Okay. Cool. I mean, I guess. I guess. Everybody's entitled to their own opinion. Brad is a huge word salad. Notice that he never answered the question about the potential tension between him and Dan. Oh yeah, you know, yeah, of course. But that and, and I heard someone say like, unless Brad is a great actor, he answered that question pretty emphatically. How could you say that when he's been sitting up here spitting out word salad and capping for the entire interview? And then you get to that one part, but he was telling the truth about that one part. That's crazy. Would you introduce him by his full name if I interviewed him? I think that would be frowned upon. But if he came on my show, then yeah. Brad Belvin, Ignatius Jerome Cornelius, Julius Caesar Chavez Holmes. Julius Caesar Chavez Holmes. Right? Don't forget the Chavez. It's Bradley F. Chavez. Please say the Chavez. Hashtag if you know, use the hashtag. I would pay to see you and Derek going at it with Brad. I would probably pay $500 for that 2 hours. I think he would walk out. I don't think he has the accountability enough to do that. Curtains, I don't know. Homeboy doesn't know leverage. I know what's gonna happen. TDI gonna be injured. You do. Is he selling 10-cent lemonade? He's selling something, and it's BS. Cap thought, if you restructure all these contracts, what does that leave for next year? It depends on where that money goes, but you can keep kicking it down keep kicking it down the field, keep kicking the can down the road. I'm sick. We let the Vikings get Kyler Murray. I mean, we couldn't really do too much about that unless we were going to get him. And I'm pretty sure the Detroit Lions fans would revolt if we got Kyler Murray. Another Lions motto, IAIO, injured always, injuries on. Let's see here. Kool-Aid Blue. Let's see. All right. There were 3 solid signings only: center, RB2, and CB. Word salad. Let's see. Oh, was that word salad old school? Money, 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 money. Money. All right. Doesn't it make the cap hit higher next year? It does. But you could also restructure again next year. That's what I'm saying. You can keep kicking the can down the road. Be nice if Brad can graduate from Dollar Tree to Family Dollar. That would be nice. That would be nice. Or maybe just go to the flea market. That would be nice too. Robert, those don't usually kick in until 2 to 3 years after. Peace out, chat. Stay us. All right, guys. I'm gonna go ahead and hop off of here. We're going to go to Lions. Bro, why? We're gonna go to Syndicates 365, and we're gonna continue this conversation. Bro, I got things to say. I know Mike got different things to say, but boy. All right. Once again, the Motor City Cats R&D back at it. We came to give you stats, not none static. Whatever you do, make sure you keep your lines news pragmatic. And we are out. Peace. We'll see you tomorrow.